What's up? What's up? What's up? Lefspek is in your area. Lefspek to connect. What's up? What's up? Lefspek to connect.
Super excited again in the studio, in Ascension Studios tonight. I have a fantastic guest. It goes by the name of Mindbender, and I'm sure many of you out there have heard this name before.
It was all a dream. Golden child hearing songs in my sleep. At 13, the rap game became a drug and started calling me. Gone from poverty to superstar, screwing models who could do Hollywood pornography. Get on top of me. All from fulfilling my sonic prophecy with songs that wanna eat your brain like a zombie fiend psychotically. The knowledge seeds are the antidote. Don't gag or choke as you swallow me. I know it's a lot of thoughts.
An amazing MC, an architect of the rhyme, just a pioneer in Toronto hip hop, in my opinion, especially from the time that I first came down. Welcoming Addy Mindbender to the Ascension Studio. Welcome, my man.
Yo, it's beautiful to be here, man. Yes,
awesome.
What up, Lefspek?
Awesome, thank you, man.
Good
awesome.
to connect. Always good to connect to you, man.
Yeah, we always, we reconnected this last summer, and the few times you were recording here and hanging out with me and Rickshaw.
Yes.
Just our conversations, man. It was amazing we got anything done. Just how much we were connecting and talking and writing our thoughts down, because we were trying to, especially you with your book, just like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to put it down, So anyways, you came right to mind when I thought about doing this podcast. And and you came through. Short notice. Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm honored to be here, dude. Like
awesome.
Every single time I've linked with you, you open my mind, you teach me things, you show me perspectives that I don't understand, and just...
Wow.
There's just not a moment of actual silence when we were when there was silence. It was just creative. It was fertile. But
absolutely.
Then when people were speaking, it wasn't egotistical. It wasn't guys trying to talk over each other or just one up each other. It was just like, hey, this is my idea. Hey, this is my angle, and this is my perspective on the thought. All of us would just gain wider understanding and just become deeper and wiser with everything we said to each other.
Yeah, man.
And it was just great. It was just great.
Yeah, absolutely. Good times, man.
Yeah.
So for those of you who may not know, Mindbender has been on the stage night after night, year after year. He has performed with many different hip-hop acts. I'm going to save some of these names, some of these people this man spent time with, some of these people he's rhymed with. I'm going to let him talk about to us about those stories. We're going to have some Connect beats in the background. We're going to have some of my beats in the background, just to kind of keep the hip-hop flavor alive. When we get to the point where we're at in our lives at 40 some or 40, the tail is a long tail. So we're gonna just touch on a few things.
We're gonna sprinkle a couple.
There's gonna be so many jewels, and so many awesome little stories, I'm sure. But let's start off with the beginning. So you're a kid, you're getting into hip hop. Hip hop is like starting to permeate the culture. What's your first connection? What's your first connection with hip hop? It doesn't have to be the first, but what are some of the initial sort of awakenings?
It's great, man. I can give you a couple. It's so good because I always feel like hip hop in certain ways was the only way I could perceive reality, and it's the only way I ever. It always surrounded me at all times, and I felt like my awareness of certain developments in hip hop just crystallized at certain points.
Right.
Like I remember the message. Clearly, I remember hearing the message. Broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the I heard the video. I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
It's like 4. I was born in 1977.
Okay.
So that's 1983 and whatever.
Yeah.
8 years old. Whatever.
Yeah. But still, yeah.
It's all blurry back then. But the point is, some of the things that were so sharp and clear were hearing Grandmaster Flash, hearing that literally the message of hip hop and like the plight of the people, New York, black reality, capitalism, crime, crack, whatever, violence. Like just hearing all that, I was like, yo. Right. And then also hearing creativity, like the bum, 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 like that sound, that echoes in my childhood. So that was a huge moment to me. My big brother also was in the biggest breakdance crew in Edmonton.
Wow.
So I was 4, 5, 6, and my big brother's in a breakdance crew that actually was breakdancing in a place called Sports World Roller Rink.
Okay.
That was Edmonton's biggest roller rink, and Rocksteady Crew came there in like '83.
Wow.
So like,
wow. So you saw those guys in their heyday, basically.
I seen Rocksteady Crew, and like my big brother is breakdancing to open up with Rocksteady Crew in '83. Like this, so it's like my child. There's like blurry memories, but that's the foundation of what I remember. That's where I came from, and that's
awesome. And you know what's amazing too is like it's important to remember that at that time, when you went to live shows, when you saw people that were famous somewhere, it's not like now where Twitter feed let us know what they're doing at that time. You feel a lot closer to the world right now. But when somebody from far away comes to your small city or town at in the 80s, it's like it's unbelievable, because you can't believe that person you've heard of like through the television or a magazine is like right there,
Absolutely.
And I don't know, like from interviews that I've read of yours and from other things that you've talked about, I feel like and also we know how many shows you go to on a regular basis. I always have. So
cannot count the amount of shows, but yeah.
So there is like, for you, would you say there's definitely a strong like connection to the actual person, being in the same room with that person, being in their presence, and sort of having that true connection? Is that, would you say, something that drives you to get to these live shows?
There's nothing in the universe that means more to me than seeing the inspiration, the musician or artist, actor, or whatever, seeing them with my own eyes, speaking to them with my own mouth, or shaking their hand. That's almost all I want. I don't just reduce it. I'm not like a star chaser where I'm just like, oh, I got their autograph. I mean, I got some autographs in school, and but when I was younger, I would seek autographs, but like now I'm not really seeking autographs. I'd like to make memories with people. Yeah. And I'm not even seeking to make songs with people, like, and to the detriment of my career or whatever. But I'm also like, some people rap about it these days, where it's like, yo, you only made songs with that cat because they're hot. And I'm like, yo, I got memories with LP and fucking, I got a long list. I got Black Thought. Yeah. Like, I got just tons of rappers.
Yeah, man.
Where I'm like, I didn't use my relationship with them to make music. Yeah. I just used my relationship to make memories in life with them. Yeah. To make hip hop, to make like love in reality. Like, yo, we were humans together. Yeah. So like,
do you think that possibly that mentality helped you connect with the artist as people, rather than getting all like a little bit messed up in the head when you see somebody and not seeing them as a person, and therefore you're not able to be yourself? Would you say that maybe your ability to connect with people, period, has been what has helped you share stages and share time with people who otherwise maybe would intimidate somebody else? Like,
you're so right, because I've never been intimidated by anybody, and I believe everybody is a star, but so few people don't know how to find their light, or don't know how to let it out. But I'm like, I have no problem shining my own light. I'm like, I'll dance wherever the fuck I want. But I don't force myself into the culture. But I'm like, when it's time to dance and there's freedom, I'm dancing. Yeah. And if somebody passes me a mic and it's time for me to rhyme, I do my thing. And like, so I do represent my own identity, and it is about that. I'm like, yo, when I see somebody, I'm like, this is the real version of me. Yeah. And I'm just gonna be like, hey, man, I appreciate seeing the real version of you. I've seen your videos. I've seen you on magazine covers, whatever, and it's like, yo, I seen like so like I can just pick random memories. But I remember one time I saw Raekwon standing on the bridge at the back of Dundas Square once, and it was just a regular Raekwon moment. Right. He's not holding the mic, I'm not holding, and so I'm just like, yeah, man, whatever. He's just wearing a black t-shirt and whatever. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And just spoke to him like regular human beings. Yeah. And like, I'm like, yo, it could be Mindbender and Raekwon, but it's like Corey Woods and Addie Stewart. Yeah, exactly. So I have those moments too. Yeah. And I love them. Of course.
I think too, like maybe in other genres as well, but I think definitely in hip hop, there's this thing with like, oh man, if you're a hardcore dude, like people will respect that and they'll want to talk to you. But it's kind of like, no, if you're a gentle, genuine, like kind person, most people want to talk to you, or most people will open up to you in that way. And it's no different for rappers. And I think also, like, anybody who knows your style and your flow, it's like a fire-breathing dragon. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
So and that's great, and that's great. But it's not like that's what you lead with when you're trying to introduce yourself to somebody or have a conversation with somebody. It's an art form, right?
Absolutely.
It's not like a painter's gonna throw a bunch of paint in your face just to be like, hey, I'm that painter. This is what I do. You know, it's like, no, you know. And I think you know, you have a charisma and a way to connect with people that makes people feel at ease. And then, you know, that I think would assist. Like, and for you guys listen out here, I mean, we're talking about chilling in a diner with De La Soul. We're talking we're talking about share. What was one of your biggest moments? Tell me about this big moment that happened for you on stage in front of 10,000 people.
Oh, that was one of the greatest moments of life. I mean, so far. I always like to say so far.
Of course, so far.
I also feel like people have no idea what my potential really is because I've only released maybe 20% of my music, and I've only shown 3% of my visual art, and I've only shown 15% of my pornography. There's so many levels of me that I actually haven't released to the world. And like, I'm just beginning. Even all the history that I've made thus far, I'm still only beginning in this hip-hop shit. Which is why I want to make documentaries capturing my history up to now, because like you said, the dragon's tail is very long. It's really just beginning. I turned 40, and I'm like, when I turned 30, I got a certain level of confidence of not giving a fuck. And now that I'm 40, I'm like, I'm definitely a motherfucking living legend. It's not even debatable. I'm like, it's just a fact where it's just like, I have to learn how to capitalize and immortalize my last 20 years in Toronto. Like, that's just my job now. It's not even an egotistical thing. It's just, I got to do what Mishi and Maestro and all these other people did when they cement their legacies, make books and documentaries, and then contribute to the culture. But I'm saying all that to say, like, that one amazing memory, and I have multiple Raekwon and Ghostface memories. There's so many levels of how important that was. It was like 2012 or 13, maybe 5 years ago, but I was on stage at Dundas Square with Ghostface and Raekwon. Oh, like we could to do justice to the story would take 20 minutes, but I'll do it in like 20 seconds. They were trying to keep me back from rocking on the stage, and I missed the first opportunity at Sound Academy to do it, and they came back at 3 months later, and I'm like, fuck y'all, I'm doing this shit. I'm front row, and I'm like, they're doing Protect Your Neck, I'm doing it. So I get on stage finally, and Ray and Ghost are there, and they pass me the mic, and it was funny because some dude comes up to me and he's like, yo, there's so many little pieces of the story that I still haven't told, but this is something I've never told people. So one of the Wu-Tang homies comes up to me and he puts his arm around me while Ray and Ghost are setting it up, and they're like, yo, we know we brought you on stage, but do you really know Protect Your Neck? And I just look at him and I'm like, with all like my humility, I'm like, yes, I do. I'm like, dog. I'm like, if you ask anybody in the crowd, like my pedigree, you're asking if Mindbender knows Wu-Tang. I'm like, son. Yo. So I was like, yes, I do know. You know, from the slums of Shaolin. I'm like, what part do you want me to do for you?
That's
so I'm
awesome.
like, I got you. So he's like, do a couple bars. So I did it, and then so I do my verse. Dude does Method Man's verse. This cool dude, and then I do my verse. And I gotta honestly tell you, it wasn't from my mind. I swear to God. I swear to Osiris. I swear to motherfucking big baby Jesus. I swear that I was possessed in that moment.
Wow.
And
channeling, some would call it. Yeah.
Channeling. It was 1,000,000% channeling. It was like we're all hip hop, and we've all rocked Protect Your Neck. We've all rapped those lyrics. But when I was on stage with Ghost and Raekwon, and I got a mic in my hand to do ODB's verse, I'm like, I'm not thinking about it. Yeah. It's just coming out of my mouth. Yeah. It was just flowing. And I literally felt energy from the universe. I'm like, I don't say it too often to people who don't understand. But I'm like, yo, I felt ODB energy on that stage. And when you see me perform, there's like 7 or 8 angles on YouTube, but one of them is complex, and that homegirl caught the front angle. And when you see me, my shirt's open, I'm just wilding the fuck out. I'm like, yo, I fully felt possessed.
Absolutely.
And then the cherry on the top is like right at the end. Old Dirty Bastard's son is at the back there.
Yes, that's right. And you hugged him.
I was like, yo, y'all don't even know this. Y'all are like caught up in this, and I'm like, y'all don't even know how special this is. I'm going to grab ODB's son and pull him out to the front.
Yeah, wow.
So then I was
amazing.
like, so yeah, it was just.
And again, I'd like to point out, in your moment of this, like, you know, this glorified moment for you.
Yep.
Your initial response was to connect with another human being.
Word.
And I think, and even though you're, you know, and the fact that you felt like you were channeling ODB, and then you felt the need to put your hands on his son and pull him over. Like, that almost solidifies more for me the channeling that was going on there, and his reception to be like, here's somebody doing justice to my father's rhymes, who obviously loved my father as an artist. Think about the moment for him, and I'm not trying to put any words into his mouth or whatever, but for me,
definitely.
just looking at it from empathetically, my father's gone, and if a man picked up a guitar and played one of his songs exactly like he played his songs, I'd be like, hug me, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's amazing that you did that. That's an amazing thing. And like, I totally believe that, you know, the word is life, and that's why we love our Shakespeare. We love to recite words, because words, I have this little speech and language instrumental I do where the psychologist talks about how speech and language are magical because they can time travel. You know what I mean? You can just put down your thoughts and then go ahead 100 years and somebody else gets those thoughts in their brain. So it totally makes sense that there's a channeling going on, you know, with that stuff. So yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, and you reminded me of that, because I've been wanting to manifest a higher level of my legacy now now that I just turned 40 like a month or two ago, and it really is like, people are magicians. Word is bond, truly, and people always underestimate. Well, I shouldn't say always, and always and never. Or I heard a beautiful saying today. A guy said, I always tell a young man to never say always.
Yeah.
And it's like, word.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you got to get a lot of age to be able to start saying real always and never statements. So,
exactly.
But genuinely, like, a lot of my energy now is into just making my dreams come true in real levels. I'm like, yo, I've gotten props, like I was telling you before, like, I've gotten respected, I've gotten big ups from a lot of my heroes, whatever, and like, I also don't need it. I'm like, I've given Nas a blunt and a mixtape and a magazine, and like, I've interviewed Nas twice. I've interviewed half of Wu-Tang Clan. I'm like, I've interviewed 5 of them. I haven't interviewed all 8 of them, and like, so I'm like, I've done a bunch of awesome, like, the history of whatever. I can't even go on. It's hard for me to even mentally recall a lot of my history, whatever. So, but it's like, at this point, I really have to make the word bond and make it historical document, not where it's like this mythical, ethereal thing that some people know about and that some people have seen. But like, it has to, I just want to make it cement, like how I just want to have my name behind Maestro and Mishi and all the other Canadian Ghetto Concept. And,
man. Well,
but also, the last thing I want to say is shout out to Scratch Bastard, because Scratch Bastard was the DJ that was on the thing, and I didn't even remember that. My brain was so all over the place with that moment that Scratch Bastard, my favorite DJ in the world, one of them, but definitely my favorite, definitely.
Yeah, man.
He was DJing Raekwon and Ghostface, and like, that's so enormous. Because
well, it's super awesome, and it's like, you know, when you see our own representing and holding it down, and then you're a part of it, you know, it's wicked, you know, and just to see the fan base. So it's just so much of what you said. I mean, and this is guys, this is exactly what we're talking about in the summertime, like this kind of chemistry and connection where like you keep thinking of stuff to say, and then the next sort of thing happens, and you're like, oh man, that was amazing. And so just a couple things in response to what you just said that I want to say to you is, number one, I want to encourage you, not that you need it, but I want to encourage you that this lifetime is not your legacy. Your legacy started before you were born and will continue on after you're gone. You are not on a time limit for how you can affect reality and the people in this world.
I needed to hear that.
Yeah, man.
I needed to hear that.
And we all know that people are appreciated for their relevance and genius way after they're out of this reality.
Yeah.
But I totally get that you want to leave a legacy that people who, because when you get into an artist and you love what they're doing, you're like, give me more. I want more. And my brother-in-law who talked to me about podcasts, he's just like, people always want more. If you give them something good, they always want more. And I think like for you as an artist, I know, because I relate. I feel like my main message has not been heard. I feel like what I really want to tell the world has not been said. It's been written. It's there in those books. It's there in those like raw forms of recordings, but I haven't done it, or like you said, felt like the world has heard what I want to say to them. You know what I mean?
They have not.
Yeah.
They have not.
And what's harder about that is when people take one piece of art and try to like pigeonhole you as an artist in that art, like that was shit or that wasn't, or that was good or that was bad, or that sounds like this guy or not that guy. Like,
yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
but that it's just, you know, you have to put the time frame. Like in the last 20 years, I've been doing this. This is what I did in 2008. This is what I did in 2013. Both have merit, but like, there's no way you can sum it all up in that. So, you know, just with what you're saying about feeling like, as an artist, I think there is always something that's pushing you, but you either get depressed and discouraged and push it away, or you say, I can do even more and I can be even more and I want to be even more. And I think people's appreciation helps that, but at the end of the day, it has to be your own sort of drive of being like you said, it's not about making $1 million or like, you know, having this crazy success, but it's that moment where your world around you turns inward and looks at you and says, holy shit, I get it. I see what you're doing. I appreciate you for all that you are, you know,
exactly
and like, and that makes you the legend, you know, is to people around you, your city or whatever, you know, that appreciate that. So, which
is what Nas has in New York, and Jay-Z and Rakim and Prodigy, and I've seen a lot of the heroes. All the people are like, yeah, Mindbender, you know all these lyrics. It's like, yeah, because I support them and I hear them.
Yeah,
it's because I was listening to them.
Yeah,
it's like, yo, I'm like, I've worn 20 different hip hop hats. I've been the host. I've been the sound man. I've been helping open mics. I've been, you know, MC, DJ a little, you know, produce, whatever. Like, I've helped people on so many. I've been an interviewer. I've been interviewed. Like, I've helped. I've helped hip hop, the community, the culture, the art form, the industry on so many levels and so many dimensions. But motherfuckers, when you're talking to Mindbender Supreme is an MC. I rap.
Yeah.
But the reason that everybody loves me is because I put my heart before my ego. And for the benefit of Toronto hip hop, I do that because it's a good thing I feel like doing. But it's like, yo, most people in hip hop, people put their ego before their heart.
Yeah.
Which is why it's like, there's a balance to it. Because it's like, I may, you know, while I'm doing all this hard work and doing all this shit that not everyone's recognizing or whatever, it's helping the community.
Yeah.
But I'm helping out all these other MCs where it's like, yo, you know, maybe or maybe not, I will be around to witness when people help me out as an MC as much as I helped out others, or like listen to me as much as I listen to others.
Yeah. Do you think that guys like Nas and stuff, even though they've got so many things written about them and this and that, do you think that maybe some of these guys suffer the same feelings that we have, where no matter what happens, it doesn't quite feel like we're appreciated? Like, do you think, or do you feel like there's more people who are be like, no, you can't take that from me. I know. Like, I'm just wondering if it's an artist syndrome to feel misunderstood, and if that's a part of the artist's life, or is it an achievable thing to be like, yeah, I know I'm here. Like, I made it. Like, sometimes I wonder if it's like a fantasy destination that so many of us artists end up having, where we feel like there's going to be a moment where it feels like we've been appreciated, but yet maybe we never really reach that. Like, maybe Shakespeare, maybe obviously Van Gogh, like maybe Nas, like
exactly.
But I mean, like maybe Nas, maybe some of these other guys, like at some point don't feel like they're really noted, like, you know, I don't know.
I'm so glad you say that, and I listen close to people's rhymes about that. But one person who I think has made it and then kind of also wants to unmake it is Eminem.
Yeah,
like Eminem, like, because M's like, yo, I made it. Like, everybody knows. This is a rare fact. I don't talk to too many people about it, but the literal, actually besides Infinite, But the first time Eminem was on a recorded project outside, like the first compilation Eminem was ever on, my song with Eternia was on the same compilation before Eminem's song on the B-side. There was like 12 artists. There's like 9. It was like a Canada America compilation. Yeah. Way before Eminem was on, like before Rap Olympics, before Aftermath. Yeah. It was just a Detroit Toronto compilation. I have it on cassette. It's on the B side. My song is like number 6. Wow. And then I have a song with Eternia. And then number 7, I Don't Give a Fuck, Eminem. Wow. And the thing was all unsigned artists. Wow. So I hear this compilation and I'm like, yo, my song's good. And then this Eminem comes on. And I'm like, yo, this shit is pretty good. I heard it and I was like, yo, this song is wild. Wow. And and I didn't, it's a cassette. I didn't know he was black. What I didn't care because on the song before it, I'm rapping with a white girl named Eternia. Yeah, sure. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I care about dope rap. Yeah, exactly. So I heard Eminem's song after my song, and I'm like, this shit is pretty strong. I'm like, this is pretty good. Like this, and I actually thought, I'm like, this might do something. This is in 1997. Yeah, I know. 1997. Wow. So
Mindbender. I am the fucking Mindbender. Yeah. I don't give a fuck, but I will take 2 blowjobs. I grow OZs and magic mushroom music, waiting for you to make a dope song. So I'm gonna get right and go wrong. So gone, like Monica doing coke off Missy's titties. So Janet Jackson would have to be flashing both breasts and a clit ring at Super Bowl 50. They would rather have the white Michael Jackson back. Justin's loving it. The real MJ's life is a circus act, and Curtis Jackson might go on stage with a gap. So I'm gonna ask you this lines. Do you think being a Canadian is a handicap in hip hop?
Yes. Yeah. Because, I mean, there's fucking, we could do a PhD thesis on it. Yeah, we could talk about it for 6 hours. Yeah. But I can reduce it. I mean, I'll reduce it today to the lack of Puff Daddies and Suge Knights. Not Suge Knights. Puff Daddies and Blue Williams and I don't want to say Cash Money Records. But the lack of good business CEOs that understand the hip-hop culture is what we're missing. Yeah. Canada has every other artistic thing fucking out the ass. Yeah. Dancers, rappers, DJs, best DJs in the world, best dancers in the world, best video, like amazing. But we don't have the business structure. We don't have American capitalist driven. Yeah. Yo, we don't have Dame Dashes. That's actually the perfect example. We have tons of Jay-Z's, but we don't have enough Dame Dashes. Yeah. Where it's like, you go in the booth and rap all day, son. I'm gonna be here making sure that we both get paid and that Rockefeller blows up. And that we take Rockefeller from a fucking tiny little independent thing to fucking clothing and movies. Mindbender says blame Canada for hating to love something new.
We still ain't making no loot.
If you run for money, power, and respect, don't even enter the microphone booth.
You still can't handle the truth.
Mindbender says blame Canada for loving to hate something new.
You still ain't making no loot.
If you run for money, power, and respect, don't even enter the microphone booth. Maybe I should check the showbiz in New York City, like Maestro Fresh West, or invest in myself.
It could be argued that there's some preservation of the culture, but at the same time, it's like how many guys that threw in the towel 10 fucking years ago because none of us have ever made any money at it.
Because why? You know what I mean? Why is Marvel starving still? Why is mathematics starving still? Why is G Knight starving still? Why are these amazing wordsmiths in Toronto and just? Why are they working day jobs in industries that are not hip hop? Yeah. Like even if they're in America, even like failed rappers are like, they become hosts or they get,
they keep doing their shows that people actually dance and clap and pay money for in their hometown.
In their hometown, exactly. Or they tour Europe or something. They do something.
Which is something we're going to talk about after the show. I want to take you to Europe. We should go to Europe and do some shows over there.
If you take me to No, honestly, you will be part of my eternal legacy. I've never been to Europe in my life.
We're going to go. We're going to do Boom Bap Festival.
I'm not that good with money. I need to get. I shouldn't say that. I need to get better with money. But like
me too. Money's always an issue, but there's ways around it. We'll talk about it after the show.
Yeah, but I have to say that. I want to say that on record. It was a really insightful thing when I saw a French dude holding my album in my 1997 album, standing there with this look in his eyes like, where is the MC to go with this music? And like people are like, yo, you got fans in France that are waiting for you. I've been hearing this for a long time, and I'm like, fuck, I need to get to France.
And that's it. And you know, it's the perfect beat to put on after talking about this. But yeah, it's dreaming big. It's about and it's also, and I hear this so much. My man G-Rock talked to me about this, and he was like, Toronto does not support its own. Yeah. We support everybody else. We do not support our own. He's like, in Japan, I can't keep my freaking records in the stores. And they're like local cats. Like he's producing dudes we know. And it's just like, oh, okay. Or like the UK, like, you know, over there, they're like really supporting their own. It's competitive, sure, just like anywhere else. But like, people are paying for it. People are going out. People are showing support. People are giving the artist this feeling of like, holy shit, this is awesome, I want to keep doing this. Not the feeling of like, God, would somebody stand up while I'm on the mic? Would someone clap? Would someone learn my lyrics and say them to me at the show? Like, you know, and it's true, like, it's not just rap. It's like, you know, it's like bands come to Toronto and they're like, why, is there something wrong? Like, why is nobody, you know, and I'm not trying to diss my own city, and I don't go to that.
We love it, but it's just the truth.
Just like, it's just this. And all I'm saying about that is that's fine. That's our culture. That's our city. So it is. You know, we don't have a lot of shootings and we don't have a lot of people dancing at concerts.
That's exactly it.
You know what? If you're an artist, sometimes you got to go somewhere where people are going to freak out for you for holding on to the mic and just having the balls to rhyme. You know what I mean? And that's enough. Because I experienced that in the States. I've only rhymed in Buffalo and Michigan and a couple other places. But like to a crowd that was hyped enough I could jump off the stage afterwards and stage dive. You know what I mean?
And
like,
hold that memory forever to be like, yo.
Exactly.
It's
you know?
like, yo, like a couple people, like, whether it's fake or real, it doesn't even, but it is real.
Yeah.
Because they're actually, like, you don't need 50,000 people to do that, like Eminem is doing that at the Molson Amphitheater.
Yeah.
You could do that with 500 people who are listening to your rap.
That's right, man.
You could do that with 50 people who are like, yo, this shit is fucking dope.
Yeah.
I've been in rooms, fuck, I have so many, like, and that's another reason why I have to tell my stories, but like, just one that popped in my head is like, like 13 people performing, fucking passing me by with Fat Lip.
Whoa, really?
With Fat Lip alone. Fat Lip comes alone. There was one of the like Fat Lip comes alone to fucking Reverb. And like Fat Lip's like, yo, you know, no one showed up, no one gives a fuck about me, and a couple of us are like, yo, dog, what the fuck? Fat Lip, you're an amazing MC.
Seriously?
Come on. Like anybody you know putting together words and creativity and character, you know those things in life?
Yeah.
Fat Lip.
Humor, like come on.
For real.
Yeah,
Insight for real.
Man.
Like for
so
real
good.
surprise. So like Fat Lip's like, yo, do y'all want to come on stage and perform the other 3 verses from passing me by with me before I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
so
man.
like, yo, there's 13 of us, and it was a fiery memory, magical.
Wow.
Yeah, 5,000 people for that shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's so funny about the sort of the thing about rap is like so much of the product is this like non-unification sentiment, and then the most beautiful thing about rap is the fellowship of freestyle fellowship or rhyming fellowship, the way that you can like all know the lyrics and come in or just everybody rap on the same beat. There's all this family. In reality, it's this family of like people vibing off each other, but then to maybe the outside listener or to some recorded stuff, it sounds like it's all about punching each other in the face lyrically and like all this stuff. But you know, you get in a room with hip-hop heads, people are smiling, hand clapping, like, you know, hugs, like, you know what I mean? It's, I mean, maybe not in every cipher, but it just a lot of times,
like,
you know,
in the core of real good hip hop, it's appreciation. Even if it's like a begrudging appreciation, like yo, like to hate on someone on a certain level, for sure, it's just paying attention to some shit you shouldn't be paying attention to. Yeah. If you really hated it, you would be neutral. You would pretend like it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
But there's all this new school shit where people pay attention and troll these people. Like, yo, dog, you don't really hate it. I just call hate disrespectful love.
Yeah, I read that today from you.
Like it's really true. It's like, yo, the real hatred is cold neutrality. So, but like, you know, in the real good times, we would be debating each other. It's like who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas, we would have passionate debates about, I'm a Nas dude. Yo, I'm a Biggie dude. Yo, I deal drugs, so I'm a Jay-Z dude. And it's just like we all debate, and we debate lines and beats. It's like, Nas can't be the best. He has shitty beat selection. But his lyrics mean the most out of over everybody. It's like, come on.
Just put it on a different instrumental. It'll be the dopest thing, you know?
For real. It's like, but Biggie has got the best of all worlds, or whatever. So then people... Those are healthy, friendly competition and debates. And to people outside the culture, yes. They're like, all these people are passionate and aggressive and whatever. Like, chill out. It's like, no. We're all fucking brilliant, powerful, bright beings.
Exactly.
And we're all just shining our light into each other. It's amazing. I love what you said about everyone rhyming on the same beat. And that...
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that earlier.
It's like, here's 4 on the floor. How many different ways can different voices flow in this?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the magic of hip-hop that very few other things have.
Yeah. One of the questions I was going to ask, and you know what, we're nearing the time. I can't believe how fast everything's going.
Yeah, for real.
We have to do a part 2.
I didn't want to, but you're asking so many amazing things, and I'm giving you...
For sure, man. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up because I think it'd be encouraging to any other artist, because I was going through your YouTubes and different things, and there's haters out there, right? There's people, and you seem to have a lot of grace and also bravado in dealing with some of the people on there and stuff. So how do you mentally deal with haters? Do you find that it messes with you at all, or do you find like you're like water off a duck's back, or is there certain ways that you kind of have worked on your perception of the world to keep this genteel, kind, accepting mentality that you seem to carry, and yet you're out there, like, sometimes wearing crazy clothes, sometimes being very saying crazy stuff. So that always will generate sort of the hot and cold responses, right? So do you get desensitized to it over time? Do you kind of do you take it and absorb it and then just like let it go, or like what's your mental process in dealing with negative responses to your outlandish creativity at times?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. And I don't know if anyone's actually really asked me that. I'm so glad you asked. There's a couple different levels, and the first thing I'll say is there's been a certain level of hater out there who criticizes my art that the best criticism... Well, there's a saying that I'll preface all of this with. I believe every single thing in the world, everything can be complimented and everything can be criticized.
Right.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
And everything. So, when certain people were critical of me and my art and like weird Mindbender rap music, often they were critical of weird flows or weird content, and also weird sonic structures and ideas, because I like to mix down my stuff in different ways, and I don't like to have everything sounding and feeling and flowing and like exactly like the same mix of the last song. I like weird shit. I like weird intros and outros. I like EQing my bass a little differently. I like weird little subtle things that maybe not everybody understands on certain levels, but they're just like, yo, that song hit me a little different. It's like, because I fucking, the drum patterning is different than any other drum song you'll hear today. So I do weird things in Mindbender music and Mindbender productions that sometimes I would see people be critical of, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just going to hear your criticism. That's it. It didn't work on you, and I'll take a grain of salt with that criticism. Like, all right, well... Some experiments don't work with some people, but then sometimes I'm like, all right, well, let's see who did feel that. So I would gauge those songs like that. And then sometimes I would make some really straightforward shit, 4 on the floor, like 3-note bass lines, 16 bar verse, 8 bar chorus, 60 3 like structure,
easily digestible.
Digestible. And then sometimes I would see people be critical of that, and I'm like, well. So then, what the fuck are you? You just like to complain. You just can't please.
You'll never please everybody, and you'll more often than not in a negative world where like the negativity always speaks louder than the positivity,
Always.
unfortunately. So,
Always.
you know, but I remember,
and me, I'm a delusional optimist, and
Right,
I live on a
yeah,
life
yeah.
where I don't say this too often because some people think it's egotistical. But if you actually listen to what the fuck I'm saying, I'm trying to lead a good example. I want to be a new Jesus.
That's right.
I'm trying to echo the path of
I know.
somebody like Jesus
Yeah.
or Malcolm X
Yeah.
or Martin Luther King
That's
or
right.
somebody beautiful like that, Buddha. So
Yeah.
like my hands have I haven't punched anybody in the face in like 29 years.
Yeah.
31 years since I was a child.
Yeah.
So like I want to be very positive.
Absolutely.
But like you're so right. All I hear is a lot like
Yep.
it's 85%, 90% negativity.
Yep.
A lot of people are comfortable in their fear and their
Yeah.
darkness and whatever, and they think that that's where power is. Like no.
Well, most innovative, world-changing thinkers, ideas were considered blasphemous and offensive when they first happened.
Yep.
Whether it was Jesus, whether it was Buddha, whether it was Christopher fucking Columbus. You know, it's like and then we act so freaking surprised when something that got totally crapped on suddenly goes big, and we're like, I had no idea house music was going to be big, because when it first came out, it was so simple and so, you know, and it's like, well, someone had to pioneer the shit before somebody else figured out how to turn it into like mass production or was making music at the time when people decided that it was going to be good enough, you know, to listen to. And I used to say something when I was in high school, because I was a total like crazy rebel with my clothing. I used to just wear anything big. So I have hip hop style, but we didn't have hip hop style in Barrie, so we just like bought big clothes, right?
Word,
So and people would dog me, you know, like
shit.
because it was like
Yeah,
real rock.
baggy
It was a
gear,
real
yeah.
rock town, so it was rock jocks and stuff. So they'd always
tight
be like,
t-shirts and
they'd be
blue
like,
jeans.
Vince, what the hell are you wearing today? And I would always do this. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you think I put this shirt on for you?
Yes.
No, I didn't. I put it on
Yeah.
because I like it. You know, like that was my
Yes,
snarky way. I was lucky I never got
exactly.
punched in the face, but that was my defense in my own mind. Was like, I'm doing this for me, and
me,
like
yeah.
when people look back on life, they're not going to be like, was he that guy who? There was like 5 guys who wore that hat. Was he that guy? You know, you could never like. Not that I'm all about fashion, but you could never be like, was that Vinny or was that not Vinny? No, that was Vinny because only Vinny would do that, you know? And then and it's that kind of thing where like as an artist, that you got to shake that. You got to shake that pretty early on, or else if you feel like you're just serving up a platter of dessert to every single person and they're all going to love chocolate ice cream and like, you know, you're going to worry about who's not going to like chocolate ice cream. It's just like you're going to just not learn how to make all those other kind of desserts that you're meant to make. So I'm getting a little off on the metaphor, but you know, it's just it's that kind of thing though, right? Where you do have to mentally emancipate yourself from the negative, because you could make the most truthful, important, world-touching thing and somebody could be like garbage, you know what I mean? So
You
it
were
doesn't
singing
matter.
the story of my life.
Yeah, well, that's it.
I do songs where I'm just talking about God energy is in all of us, and we are all immense light beings, and love is heaven on earth.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, yo, that mix is trash, dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you
listening to the wrong thing?
Did you hear any of the words that I said? Even if the mix was not an aftermath Dr. Dre level mix.
And you put your lyrics with your songs a lot of the time.
I put shit out there, and like, so like, I mean, I laugh at it though, and like, hate does make me stronger though. I don't seek it out. I'm not a contrarian. I'm not like, really am not.
Yeah, I didn't see you arguing with anybody. I saw a couple lines like just like okay.
That's it. I sometimes
I heard what you're saying, but you know. Mindbender loves you all, and I listened to your track, and I wasn't that into yours either, or something like that. You know what I mean? But
that's the thing. Like, I sometimes I'll try to meet somebody if they become less than human or less like if they go below a certain level of respect. I'll be like, you are really not trying to, like, this is a waste of time, and fuck this. You actually want to just get the fucking thrill of being like, ooh, you could actually be a huge Mindbender fan. Yeah. Or like a huge, like, you could think, oh, this guy's big, whether or not you like me or not. You'd be like, yo, if I get this guy's attention, then I've done something today. Like, I fucking had a horrible argument with Lord Jamar from Brad Nubian on fucking Twitter one day. And it started out because we were talking about marriage, and then marriage was the topic, and then I was like, yeah, well, I'm cool with open marriage, and then it started going into polyamory and stuff. And then Lord Jamar was like, well, what the fuck, that's gross, you're sick, whatever. And I'm like, So I started beefing with Lord Jamar, and I'm like, yo, you're saying some really ignorant shit. And I'm like, I didn't fucking continue the argument to be like, yo, I want to fucking beef with Lord Jamar from Brand Newbie. I'm like, yo, we were having a respectful conversation. I was talking to a childhood idol. And then I realized that his values were actually something that I didn't share at all, and I don't respect where he was at. And so then we had the disagreement, and then I left it where it was at, and that was it. I didn't fucking like get all in it. I'm beefing with Lord Jamar.
Well,
like,
the thing is, they can't. The thing is about the negative sort of thing, like. It can't exist without the other side. Like it fizzles out once that other side's not happening. But also, this is something that we've talked about before, months back. But the idea of like it's not just about the moral right and wrong of things, because we know it's not black and white, right? Like if you go back to the 70s to be on the moral side, and I've used this before, but the moral side of homosexuality was to be anti-homosexual. That was the moral side, the Christian side. If you were a good man, you were anti-homosexual.
Totally.
Now you are the biggest devil if you are not agreeing with homosexuality, right? And now like I'm a person who is definitely was raised religious, so I felt all this like hardcore anti-secular thinking. And then so you find yourself now you're on the other side where you're like, okay, to be moral is to think this way. So does that then mean that now anybody who is homophobic is suddenly, we hate homophobics? Is that any better? Is that any better? And I think no. I think that a world where like people can have their opinions, even if they're inflammatory, will have less bite and less effect on us in our happiness, in our feeling of fulfillment and safety, if our reactions are muted a little more. If not everything that someone says that could be deemed as inflammatory doesn't have to become inflamed, because the inflammation happens from the decision of the listener going, I've had enough and I'm gonna freak the fuck out. And it's that kind of mentality where it's this reactionary fight the next person. We are not one. You are different than me. I'm going to fight you to the death.
For real.
And that idea,
I can't find a place of balance between us. And I refuse to even look.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
if
though
you think that you're a completely different species almost than me, you're not even a human. You're a subhuman.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's the kind of mentality that sent people to war, for World War I and II, to be killed by the millions. Like, World War I happened, everybody dies, and then they do it again. And you think, how could they do that again? Because society was convinced that the people they were fighting weren't even people. They were a scourge of demons that they had to,
Jews are rats.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever it was.
Exactly. Germans, just like, yo, we're Nazis. These aren't human beings. We are exterminating them because we're cleaning up this neighborhood, this fucking country. It's like, whoa, this is fucking genocide. This is insanity. But I'm so glad you said that, because one of the floating thoughts I've had generally in my modern philosophy these days is that especially going with this America, where America is right now, and Donald Trump being in office, and just the concept of military and war and guns and violence, I really want people to comprehend that there's no such thing as good guys and bad guys.
Thank you.
There's no such thing as good guys and bad guys, which goes to reinforce exactly what you're talking about. Because people refuse to think about, what about the families of the people that you call bad guys?
Yeah, exactly.
You're the you're like, oh, these are peaceful soldiers. These are these are the good guys, the American soldiers. Yeah. These or usually the white people.
Yeah,
or like literally what it comes down to, or whatever you've been trained to believe. Whatever you've been trained to believe is good, quote unquote. Yeah. Like, oh, these good guys with good guns can do anything violent to those bad people. That is not justice. That is not peace. That is perpetuating chaos in the universe. There will never be balance in the world with that mentality, because it's like, there is no good and bad. All there is actions that are positive or negative.
That's right.
There's two sides of people. There's both of them are either good guys or both of them are bad guys. And the thing is, I'm like, if you guys are doing violence, you're both bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. What makes tragedy is not those who are involved in it. If one man who knows no one and has no affiliation to anything else kills another man of the same status, there's no tragedy there almost, because nobody is affected. It's the people people who love that person who dies that create the tragedy. The person who dies is gone. There's no tragedy there. But the people who are affected by the death, that's what makes it tragic. So you may say, that guy's a racist bigot, let him die. But his mom loves him, his brother loves him, his sister loves him, and they're going to experience the tragedy of us saying his life is worthless.
Totally.
Whereas,
they didn't hear the bigot shit. Like,
No.
he might have, when he was at home, he was good, eating steak and eating fucking bacon and eggs with his mom, and then he goes out and then he fucking gets on the bus and screams profanity at every fucking black and Asian person that's on the bus, whatever, and then goes home and is chill with his family. So if he fucking goes on the bus one day and then punches some little girl and some shit and then goes to jail, she dies, and he's like, you fucking die for manslaughter. Be like, oh, this guy's a fucking sick ass bigot. He killed this little girl, and be like, no, well, I never saw that side of him.
That's right.
He was my father. He was my uncle. You know, that's not all there is to him. And it's like, actually, that's the truth, and that's the truth with everybody.
Whether we want to admit it or not, and I think I honestly believe that our own tolerance for other people directly reflects our tolerance of ourselves. So that when we are in a position where we feel like cannot deal with somebody else's sort of anxiety, and it makes you mad to hear someone like your wife get anxious, and you're like, why can't I stand this? Because when you start feeling anxious inside, you berate yourself for feeling anxious. You don't allow that feeling. So when other people start feeling ways you don't allow yourself to feel, you get mad at them, or you can't handle it. Intolerance is a sure sign of an inability to accept oneself. And the more you find tolerance in your life, the more you know that you're accepting yourself. And I think that as an artist, it becomes imperative that you learn to tolerate other people's art and expression. As an artist, like, when you've been on stage, it's like when people say you should be a waiter once in your life so you learn how to treat waiters. It's like when you've been on stage in your life and you've tried to make people involved, that's what makes you, as an audience member, be attentive. Go up front, clap loud, like be supportive and listen,
watch,
because you've had that experience. So what I see a lot of, bro, is people living closed up lives, small towns or whatever it is, where the only information they get is what is decidedly given to them. And then they base all their reactions and their feelings about life on this like very limited view. Whereas if you put yourself in a position where you're like, okay, now I'm not in my comfort zone. I'm hanging out with some people. I'm experiencing some things I don't normally have. I'm asking myself questions about the way I see the world more and more. You get like this tolerance kind of, or sensitivity, or you become desensitized to things that would otherwise make you feel uncomfortable. And as that happens more and more, I think you come into this place of recognizing that you are very individual, and that in itself, it allows you to be more and do more, but it also allows your world to be more and do more. And in this other podcast, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you too, I'm talking about men's emotional literacy, and a lot of that has to do with being able to accept that the world has so much more to offer to you in your experience of what you can actually feel and experience when you give yourself a range of emotions to have, not just anger and euphoria.
For real.
But
or self-defense.
You can have jealousy, but you can also have
compassion.
Compassion or whatever, right? You can have all these things.
Or compersion. A word called compersion that I like to put out there. It's the opposite of jealousy, which is being happy for somebody else's happiness.
Wow.
Instead of being envious of somebody else's happiness.
That's an awesome concept. I've never heard that word.
I know. I really love that word. And I fucking push that around. I'm like, yo, why don't we learn this word when we're 3 years old? Why do we learn the word jealousy and envy and all those words when we're young? And like, everybody learns the concept of opposites, but it's like, yo, you learn happy and then sad. So why didn't you learn the opposite of jealousy?
Exactly.
You're like, what? You're like, what? Do you think there's not an opposite of? There is.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's a nod to language. Like when we talk about, Inuit culture having 50 words for snow, African culture having 50 words for green. Like, language does dictate how your mind perceives the world. And the more, that's why I think you and I could say we love language and expressing with words, because you can change the way you look talk and feel about things by just putting it in a different spin word wise, and that's like totally awesome.
You've altered my brain 2 or 3 times profoundly tonight.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and you as well. I mean, our conversations always go this way for sure.
There was a couple little thoughts I really wanted to give you. Just some of like my deepest favorite thoughts in life, actually, and I want to capture them in this because
please do.
You know, sometimes like you actually gave me a jewel that nobody else has given me about thinking about my legacy being beyond this lifetime. So I really thank you for
word,
that.
Man, word.
But like also, when you're talking about keeping your mind open and being connected to as many other things, like that's a way that I live, and like I live in like whether it's sexuality or hip hop or like music or writing. I kind of stay in this state of beginner expert, and I'm just like, I'm always a beginner. I approach it with this curious young mind, but I'm also, especially with artistic things that are not mathematical or like engineering or scientific, I'm kind of at a level where I'm so intuitive with the art that I'm almost at a, I don't want to say automatic expert, but I have a natural affinity for certain levels of artist. Like, I easily pick up certain dances. I easily like certain artistries. I'm like, I'm like my learning curve is very fast on it.
Sure.
So it's like, the point is, I'm just saying like I'm beginner expert with certain things, and ultimately it keeps my mind very open at all times. Always coming in with new information and always coming in with new wisdom and knowledge. And I'm saying all this to say that one of my favorite sayings of all time is this Buddhist saying, enlightenment is intimacy with all things.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I love that way. It's like literally
that's goosebumps. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, it's literally like Prince being like, yo, I could walk into a store and being like, I could play any instrument in this motherfucker. Like you're like, what are you? Prince, you are literally like, you are the breath, you are the light, you are the air. Like you are literally the energy of the universe. If you can flow into every musical instrument in the room, and fucking create magic, what?
Yes.
Like you're true. You are enlightened.
Whose world is this? The world is yours, but the universe is mine. It's mine. It's mine. To my people of Toronto, respect your life. To the people of the globe, respect all life. They trick you with escapism, saying this is a great system, but Babylon hates women, won't save children, and practices daily racism. Cultures matter more than skin color. My family's international. If we all act like brothers and sisters, discover the difference. But remember, there's someone that's living, not understanding they think it doesn't mean get a gun and go kill them. Cause there are 6 billion gods and goddesses and human bodies wandering through this heaven called earth, learning personal karma consequence. The golden rule is the oldest truth. You'll be whatever is grown in you.
Yeah, that's right. And they've definitely attributed, like, they've done brain scans where they've scanned the minds of monks and what their brain activity is doing while they're in deep meditation, and then gone to like musical aficionados and scanned their brains and found their brains doing the exact same thing that the people are doing into deep meditation.
Exact
the same signals going on, the same kind of peace and like connection with, you know, with oneself. So it's pretty amazing, and that can happen just by, you know, noodling on the guitar or like saying your raps. And I've felt it. Like you say, like I felt the transcendence of where you're like trying to remember what to say or trying to think of what to freestyle, and then just like boom, it's just coming out, and you're like, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
It's just here, it's now, it's, you know. And that's, I think, in the moment too, and that's another thing too about if you can get right in that moment. I think that freestylers love the freestyle because it is a time where there's no before, or there might be a little bit after because you're kind of a little bit ahead of your own mind,
a tiny bit,
but not far, especially at 100 BPM. You know what I mean? You're not far, man. You're real close to right there.
It's like a bar and a half.
Yeah,
it's like it's always or like 2.5 bars. You're like, all right, I'm thinking of this line and then the line that rhymes with it, and then maybe there's a fraction of thought that's thinking about the one after it, but I'm not thinking of the whole verse.
That's right. Well, that's how far ahead you go. And you know, there's group meditation practices where part of what they do to get the one mind sort of feeling going on in the group is to sit there and talk in turn, but only talk about that moment in time, not referencing the past or the future. But they sit together and they say, talking with you right now, Addy, is really helping me stay here because I like being here. This room is beautiful. The people here are beautiful. Next. And as they go on for an hour or 2 hours, they start to almost lose the speech, and it starts to just be a one mind thing where people are communicating and just meditating together. But it's about talking about the here and now, not referencing it in the past, not projecting it to the future. And that's sort of how we live in the happiness of today. That's how you find contentment. That's the idea of meditation, of like coming right down to the moment. So and art, I really feel like is a part of that thing, that it's a gateway for us to achieve those moments, moments of like, I'm right here, right now, I'm content. When you're playing that song you love to play, you're content. When you're performing that song you want everybody to hear, you're content, So
I rarely get to share this thought, but this is the perfect moment for it.
Awesome.
One of I don't know where the origin is, but this is the origin that I believe. Somebody said it to me once, and you were talking about art just now, and and we were talking about how much we love words and wordplay, but people are like, what's the definition of the word art? And I heard once that the definition of the word art comes from the saying, "Thou art God."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't even care if that is. That's the definition I'm running with. Are you kidding? Like, thou art God, where it's like, when you're creating art, you're and like, because I'm like, all people are creators. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you're making art, you're a creator. Like, it doesn't matter if it's fucking Sistine Chapel or a stick man.
So what you are
exactly
what you are. Amazing. That's awesome. Amazing. There, you just blew my mind. Awesome. That's such a good one, man, for sure.
But oh man, there's also, when you were talking about, there's something else that you were talking about, and I really want to leave. Like, I hope people understand where this connects to. But like, once the fear is gone, and once the criticism is gone, and once you start not needing to debate and compete with everything in the world, then you start to cooperate and build and do what we're doing here, connect. And like, as that continues, and as your mind keeps opening and your heart keeps opening, then all the thousand and infinite millions of veils start falling down, and then we get towards realizing that we are all one, and that we're all just perceiving the same one thing from different infinite angles, and then you find that we're all, that you can actually manifest whatever you want. And I'm trying to make love out of heaven, and make heaven out of love. And something that I read today with the Me Too thing, because that's something I had to do a little Me Too hashtag thing, but I wanted to wait a few days, because the first people I think that it should have focused on was women and trans people.
For sure.
So I'm like,
you don't want to chime in too early necessarily and alter the viewpoint or respond in maybe a bit that's a little bit different than what the main focus of Me Too is, and I get that.
Exactly.
Like, I feel the same. I haven't really responded yet.
Exactly.
But
and I'm like,
big time on my mind.
And I'm like, yo, like, I haven't been penetrated in my asshole by a man and like violently raped. I haven't been like, I haven't been stalked down the street. I'm like the people who like hesitate or even start with Me Too or the other hashtags around it or whatever. I'm like, these people are talking about super hardcore stories, or like, I'm like, I'm not gonna fuck it. I'm like, the things that happened to me were shitty, but I'm like, yo, I know some women are dealing with some shit that fucked up their whole fucking life. Like, they never, like, they don't go outside anymore at night the same, or like, yo, they always got to carry bear mace or fucking shit like that. I'm like, what happened to me? I'm like, I can say Me Too as well, but I'm like, what happened to me wasn't that bad. I had some dickhead dude fucking grab at my ass and grab at my dick. That's like. I had things that happened where I'm like, I could have called the cops, and that officially counts as sexual assault or sexual abuse, like whatever. But like, I haven't been raped. And I'm like, yo, so
I think
let's start there.
Yeah, it's definitely a discussion that relates to all of us, and we can all have something to say. But I think there's going to be an evolution to that conversation, and I think it's really good to put our listening ears on first, so that we can recognize and really know, how we're going to respond. Like, I definitely know for me, there's an apology from me to women and men for allowing, for just letting things go, and for not endorsing, but not standing up, and that's it's the same as consent, and that's kind of the thing that's coming up in the other podcast. In the boy code, is that by telling a boy that boys will be boys, you're giving the bully consent to beat up your son.
You're right.
And you're telling your son he's allowed to do it too. And it's that consent that we give our brothers and other men in our lives when they say and do these things, you know, and we're like, yeah, I've known he was this kind of a person, or I've laughed at those jokes, or like whatever, I've watched that kind of porn, or like whatever it is, and you're like,
whatever,
you know what, I kind of fed into that too.
Yeah.
So there's an apology, and I don't want to veer off into this side of things because that's a whole other podcast, but I think for me, and I hope you've reached a lot of the things that you want to say. I don't know if there was another jewel you wanted to drop from that.
Yeah, the very last one
Yeah.
that I wanted to connect to that, because I definitely wanted to talk a little bit about modern life and you know, my very modern reality personally, Addie Stewart, and in this time, even though I'm definitely not a Christian, so I don't believe that today is October 16, 2017.
Right.
I like to throw that out there. This is just a beautiful, magical, infinite moment in time.
Nice.
But the thing that I'm saying all that about is when I was writing and reading my Me Too thing, this one woman put, yo, if we weren't fucking here spending all our time trying to get our abuse stories heard and trying to get justice and trying to get our voices heard in just basic daily life, then we would all be out here living our best self.
Right.
And I was like,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
fucking that's what it is. And I saw
Yeah.
somebody write that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I want more people to think like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
yo, clear out your fear, clear out your garbage, clear out the shit you do bad to other people, clear out the shit that you do bad to yourself.
Yeah.
And then start like thinking about your dreams, and then start thinking about who would I be if I was the best version of myself.
That's right.
And why am I not doing that?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like
No,
give
and
yourself that.
Yeah.
So like
That's
that,
amazing,
like even I was even going dark because I was like, that was the best positive direction to go.
Absolutely. And you know what? And that's, I think, you know, coming from a man who has been an artist for life, like basically like made it so that that's what you do with your time is art. Like that's the encouraging thought, right? It's like, get out there and do what your heart desires. Like you don't have to, I know you think, like, and I'm going to say this, you might think what you're doing now you have to do. But if your heart's not in it, you don't have to do it.
Amen.
You don't have to do it. And you would be so surprised if you're one of these people who's like, I've been doing this because I have to do this. I hate it, but I have to do this. You would be surprised how quickly things turn around if you just say, I don't have to do this. I do not want to do this. I refuse to do things I don't want to do day in and day out. We all have some things we don't want to do, but if most of what you're doing is stuff you don't want to do, you don't have to do it. And I think, and looking back at an artistic life, I mean, I'm someone who lived a long time like that, working jobs I didn't want to do, being not who I wanted to be. And in the last 7-8 years of my life, I feel completely emancipated in just becoming the artistic person I want to be, and just being how I want to be, and being really upfront about who I am and what I do. It's not always the easiest road, but it's certainly a quicker road to feeling like you're doing what you're meant to do and feeling fulfilled, you know?
Feeling fulfilled, feeling connected to your own life purpose.
Yes.
Feeling like you're at peace with your own mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
And not having your mind, body, and soul be chained to the fucking whims and desires of your parents or your social circle or
your boss or like
your
whatever
boss
it is,
whoever is forcing you to believe the idea that you have to do this. It's like, no, nobody. That's actual subtle slavery, and anybody forcing you, like, that's not. Anybody on the planet really shouldn't have to be forced to believe that thought. Like this, like I fought everybody. I fought my mom. I fought my dad. I fought my family. And like not like harsh fight. Like I didn't have to be disowned by them and then rebuild that relationship. It didn't. Like I've known some people who were like fought really hard circumstances to be like, I need this freedom to do what I really want. And I've been pretty blessed, but like I'm just saying I fought my mom because my mom didn't want me to do certain dreams that I did. When I was in my 20s and I was like, yo, I feel like I got to drop jewels. My mom's like, but you fucking had OAC, fucking, you're brilliant. So like, why are you not going to U of T? I got you a scholarship. And I'm like, I don't want to go to U of T and use my brain for that. My heart, I'm following my heart. My heart wants to go to music college. And I went to music college and I got 90s and I fucking graduated. When I started the dream, there's like fucking 300 students. We're like, oh, everyone's in music college. And then this the teacher was like, yo, you know what? By the end of this, only barely any of you will be here.
Wow.
And then I was like, and then everyone's like, nah, we're all doing this. And like after a while, you just start seeing who's really dedicated to the dream and who's not. And then the graduation ceremony comes, and there's like 13 of us out of 300.
Wow.
So and I was like, yo, it was a 9-month course.
Wow.
It wasn't a fucking 4-year course where you're forced to be. You were forced to be a doctor or forced to be it's like, yo, can you dedicate yourself to your dreams for 9 months? And I'm like, this is to be a musician. For the dream that you chose. And a lot of people dropped out. And I was like, no, I am a musician. I want this. I'm graduating. And I'm like, that's the last time I'm in school. I got my fucking I don't give a fuck about plaques or none of that shit. I'm like, yo, I committed to that. I did it. I walked that path because that's what my heart wanted. So then I graduated from music college, and I've never gone to schooling again, technically, for the rest of my life.
But you also never look back.
I never look back. All I did is just buy books about the things that I love.
Exactly.
So I bought books about porn. I bought books about fucking writing, and and as far as following your heart, what you're talking about, telling people to do and not believe that you have to you're forced to do anything. Believe him, because I am a person whose my fucking life is a testament to that. I've been a hip hopper. I've been I never went to, all I did was go to music college, but I wrote for 10 years for Double XL, for Now Magazine, for fucking 10 different hip hop magazines across North America. And I never went to university for it. I just did it because I loved it. And they knew that I loved it. So my heart brought me into being a journalist. I taught kids for 5 years because everybody knew that I had passion for children and youth and justice. So my heart brought me into that without ever having any training with social work or any of that. So I was trusted to do that. And then my heart was like, I want to do porn and burlesque and things like that, because hip hop frustrated me because people were so disrespectful to women, and men didn't know how to talk to women, and sexuality is just in a bad place in hip hop. So I'm like, I'm going to actually go into real sexuality. And my dream brought me there too. So I'm like, not only do I do porn, but I'm like, I'm a porn director. I write about relationships for 4 years. I've been writing about polyamory and different relationship options besides marriage and monogamy. And I'm like, all of these things are inspired out of my heart, just because I'm like, this is my dream now. I want to do it. How do I learn how to do it? For burlesque, I'm like, hey, burlesque is a mix of acting, rapping, dancing, and sexuality. And I'm like, I love all those things. Hey, I'm a 39-year-old burlesque dancer. I went to Toronto School of Burlesque, and I learned that. And
Amazing.
It's like any dream on the fucking planet. Anybody could do it. We live in a time of dreams.
How about you and your ideas and your dream worlds and your fears? Be a believer, feel the realness of either or and neither. I'm the most high Osiris of dope rhyming, cause my soul shining like gold diamonds. Banging my flow when I'm high off my hope. Don't try and get ether deeper. Like we don't believe you. You need to deceive more people. But we're damn good at getting out our dreams. Never devil speaking evil. It's that get it off your chest shit. Cleveland Steamer. I see you're a screaming bleeder, a weaker minor rolling life's holy demon theater. I'm a genius leader of the new school, feeling like high IQ.
So glad you touched on some of these things. Like in my notes, I'm like, okay, there's so many elements to you that it's like, okay, we gotta touch on this, you gotta touch on that. But how do you sidestep the chemistry and conversation that we also have as well, right? Because but I think it's great, and I think Lefspek Connects is what it's about. Is about connecting with artists and people who have stuck with something for a while that really shows who they are. And I think, like, as an artist, as a musician, one of the greatest things for me is connecting with other artists. It's better for me even than the audience, because and standing on stage, because you feel like people really get you. But there's so much to be learned about what that artist has done to keep wanting to do art. What did you do to keep that boat afloat, that you didn't get sunk by the haters, by the money, by the lack of, by the industry? And the thing is, like, if you have artists in your life, people, spend some time with them, talk to them, because I really believe that the people who have kept art in their life into their adult life, those are the people who have learned how to hang on to their youth a little bit. And I'm not trying to, blow our own horns here, but I'm just trying to say, art is not just for the artistically, quote unquote, inclined. art is a gift from God or from source or from the universe or from ourselves.
Yes.
To help us break.
Which are all the same thing.
Exactly. It's to help us stay connected with God, source, universe, ourselves.
Yep.
And that's
Each other.
That's what it's there for. And if you feel disconnected from your world, do some art, man. You would be amazed at even shit you don't even think you can do.
And everything is art. Like when you make your dinner, make it art, whether either when you're stirring in the pot and the timing of as you make a fucking bowl of rice or pasta.
Yep.
And then when you plate it and you lay it down on your plate, do it in an artistic fashion.
Yes.
In some kind of way. Or when you dress in the morning, the way you put your clothes on your body, feel like a piece of art. Treat yourself like a piece of art.
Yeah.
Life is art. All artists are inspired by other people's lives and their imaginations and the potentials of reality and the fact that this world is infinite and we all have people who have access to their dreams use their energy to take their dreams higher and higher and higher.
Absolutely. And
then it's just like, yo, I am a person that tries to stay balanced, but I'm like, I've shaken hands with Kanye West and I've shaken hands with the fucking homeless man the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I learned, I know that things that each one of them didn't understand about the other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is reality and life and art and beauty. And I'm like, there's art in something ugly and crazy like a homeless man on the corner.
Yeah.
There's this dude that I'm thinking about. I know so many homeless people in Toronto and they have so much wisdom and compassion and truth in them. And like the thing is, I love that you brought up about childhood, because I don't know if it's Picasso, but one of the great sayings that was in my childhood art school when I was in grade 1 was every child is born an artist. The problem is remembering how to stay one when you grow up.
That's right.
It's fucking the ultimate life saying. Everybody knows you fucking. Everyone gets crayons and shit. And it's like, yo, being an artist is not being commercially validated.
Yeah.
It's not. It has nothing to do. If you're lucky enough to pay your bills and get a mortgage and fucking kids feed yourself off drawing or painting or whatever, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
But you don't need that to get the benefits and value of art.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking paint when you get home from fucking doing your day job, whatever. Like, I'm about to pick up a paintbrush. I've been drawing. I've been drawing since grade 1. My mom enrolled me in art school. Like, I didn't go to regular English school. I went to art school from grade 1 to 6. So art has been my perception of the reality since I was a child, since I was 6 years old. Yeah. And like, I'm great with pencils and Conte and markers and whatever. My Achilles heel, I don't tell much people this, but a weakness to me, quote unquote weakness, I'm going to turn it into a strength, is a paintbrush.
Yeah, he's using the brush.
I've only made one painting in my life. I have drawn maybe 15,000 drawings. Yeah. I made one painting. Wow. So like, I'm 40 years old. I'm picking up a paintbrush.
You're gonna do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna do more. I did one, and it's like a basic sketch. It's a heart with like an eyeball and like a 6 heart. Like, it's so basic. But I'm like, I used it. Like, I beat that obstacle, and I used the paintbrush and used paint and put it on paper and put it on my wall. Right. And like, it's like a child's level painting. But to me, it's like a level of art. That's and like, when I look at that painting, it's all like chicken scratch. Yeah. But like, the value it gives me and the confidence as a human being, it's so powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, fuck, it's not a fucking Mona Lisa, but I'm like, hey, one day I'll make a Mona Lisa. And like, even if I don't get there, the journey of doing this is just everything.
Exactly. And and then there's what you get out of it, and then there's those moments where people experience your art and tell you how important that piece was to you. And as an artist, I will say, like, if you're holding back from telling someone that you know or that you love or you appreciate that their art is great, let them know. Let them know. That's what, we do, people will play modest, and people will, and you might even think like, oh, wow, well, they got like a whole bunch of plays, or like a lot of other people are telling them they're wicked, but like, a lot of times you're not. Like, here's an example. You have a video up to 20,000 plays on one of your videos, 18,000, somebody put it up, okay? 50 likes, 17 dislikes. In 20,000 people, that's how many people actually chose to click the thumb up or click the thumb down, let alone out of those 20,000 views, who said, hey man, this is the best thing I heard. Like, maybe 10, and then you got another 10 saying the exact opposite. So not like everybody needs their bread buttered, but like I think it's important that we support the people we know and love that are doing art, and that not just supporting them with like a click, but like give them a message like that says, you know what, I love that you've always been doing this. My buddy Fred, he sent me a message out of the blue. I haven't talked to this guy in a long time. He's like, I went across your YouTube channel, and I just want to say I've always appreciated you for being real and exactly who you are, and always having the same positive message.
Nice.
That meant so much to me, man. So much to me.
That's like 3 months of fuel for some artists.
Exactly.
Certain people, like I have like maybe once every 2 months somebody come up to me and say something profoundly. I'm like, yo, you don't know, you boosted me for fucking weeks off that.
Yeah.
Like you heard the one thing that nobody else heard, or you saw what I wanted people to see. There's two, like, I'm not gonna give jewels forever because I know that time is not in, but you've inspired so many wonderful things in me. And two things that I wanted to say this whole time is, one of them is, a very important thing is letting an artist smell their flowers before they're dead. That's something that I want.
Good one.
That's a great way to say it. And I'm like, let special people in your life fucking
let them know.
Hear their magical words.
And tell other people, like share it with other people. Tell other people, like, I like this guy a lot, or I like this girl a lot, or whatever it is. Like, there's that too. Like when you hear like so and so told me about your music, and I liked it. So that's awesome. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to there's somebody who, like, I could support her more, because she's been supporting me literally since I did it in Vine Style. But Sunny D is this female MC in Toronto.
I know Sunny D.
Yo, Sunny, like,
of course. What up, Sunny?
Yo, Sunny is mad. I saw her at the Atom Bomb concert with Rickshaw.
Oh yeah.
I'm not Rickshaw. Rich Kid.
Rich Kid. Yeah.
So we were there, and like Sunny always just bigs me up, and like she was mad cool. And like I woke up the next day and I look at my Gmail, and $1 sale from Sunny D selling a copy of I Don't Give a Cunt. And I was like, yo, she bought my song. And it's just like, it was a $1 sale, and I was just like, yes.
Nice.
It was just made me so happy.
Yeah.
And I mean, just $1 fucking from one friend doing one thing. It's like, it really means a lot. And this might be the last point in my life. But like one thing, I don't say it much, and it's a really important thought, I think, that for people to take in, is like, we're talking about artists, and this idea of artists, especially lifelong artists or people who are like visionaries, societies rarely value the level of vision that an artist brings to it. And the thing is, like, artists are always ahead of the society that they're in. They're always bringing in new visions and thoughts, and like that's part of what it is. Like, we're channeling higher level thoughts, like we're combining ideas and sounds and concepts. So it's like, yo, let me take that from there, something from the 50s and something from now, and then like I have this invention that no one's ever even thought of, and like I'm just gonna make it in a song or a video or just in some form, and just give it to society. And then some people are like, oh, that's whack, or what are you, crazy, or what are you, stupid, or oh, that shit'll never work. Or when like regular people start seeing our ideas, but it's like, yo, it doesn't even like this cartoon reminded me of one of my favorite lines. And this little mouse was like, oh, he says to the scientific other mouse, he's like, oh, I had this idea for you, but it was a failure. And then the other mouse looks at him and says, you know what? It doesn't matter if your ideas are successful or failures. All that matters is the impact that your work makes. And I was like, yo, there have been failures that have been hugely impactful.
Exactly.
That like change things in the world.
And I think as for me, an encouraging thought is, I will never know entirely the impact I have.
Word. And
let my imagination fuel what it could have. You know what I mean? Let that be the idea, like whatever I can dream up. Like I can dream up that 100 years from now, every freaking word that I wrote from my heart is going to mean a whole shitload to a whole shitload of people.
Word.
Or it's almost enough for me at this point in my life, my brother, is to think of my own sons being my age, listening to what I do and knowing me through my art. And that's why these people are up on my wall, because this is who I do my music for, because I'm figuring, like, these are the people I'm being real with in my life. So when I write and record and myself, and I actually direct it at them, I can trust that no matter who else hears it, they're getting the real McCoy from me, right? And my kids and my, family and my, my grandkids can all know me through this art, and I can time travel.
Yes.
I can go.
Yes.
I can go to lifetimes I will not live, or maybe not
Yes.
live in this dimension, and that's also a big pull for me as an artist is there was a time when art did only exist in the moment. I mean, paintings, obviously.
Yeah, for real.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
And then,
but music was like it
performance.
happened now,
Yeah, if
or it didn't happen.
yeah,
Like
you're
you're
there.
in silence, or someone was playing music.
Yeah, for
now
real. Now we have recorded
yeah,
music
so
and
it's
yeah.
different, right? But anyways, yeah. So
But
that
yo,
is important, yeah.
thank you for saying that, man. Can I drop 4 bars?
Yes, man.
Yeah, just
please,
because, like I don't,
Yeah.
that's another
Mindbender's
thing.
in the building. Yeah.
Mindbender, I'm not the rapper that, I have infinite belief in my greatness, and I believe that I'm fucking a phenomenal, brilliant wordsmith, and
I share this belief in you.
yeah,
Yes.
thank you. But I'm not. I've never been the kind of MC that's like yo, and get all up in people's faces. I'm not that rapper.
Yeah.
But peace to that rapper. There's so many different kinds of
there's
MCs.
strength in everything, right?
Yeah,
Everyone
exactly.
has their own kind of strength, for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
ODB was that kind of guy.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
love ODB. You just fucking without him doing that, we wouldn't have the fucking Grammys moment where
Sure.
you're just
Yeah.
running out that's
Yeah.
amazing. So maybe I need to run up on something. But, I'm actually, that inspires me to tell you something that I didn't plan on telling you, but I'm going to give it to you after I give you this.
All right.
So when you said time travel,
Yeah.
it made me think of one of my favorite choruses. So this is when I actually wanted to do I was like, yo, people, I wrote the Fantasyland Before album, Fantasyland Before Time album, and I was like, it didn't hit. I was like, yo, my fucking shit was, I wrote a vibe called Fresh. People didn't even figure out that a vibe called Fresh rhymed with the Tribe Called Quest, and that the whole third verse is references to excursions and Q-Tip and Fife Dog and native tongues. I say all this thing. Nobody said any parallels to that song for 9 years.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, yo.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, the song is called A Vibe Called Fresh. It's
Exactly.
you know.
Called fresh. Unrefined rawness when you feel the vibe called fresh. Rebel yell heard from heaven to hell. Definitive meaning and importance given to an irrelevant self. Soul brother number 1, formulated mind liquid that transforms to hardcore body rocking. Fine tune the mic, check 'em fresh like Wesley Williams. You just don't wanna be Johnny Rotten. Apples and clockwork oranges. Ultraviolet's war begins in 54 seconds. Smashing flashy ornaments. 8 steps to the left of normalness. Perfection word injections. Numb the tongue of the test taster. The best flavor. Mint scented music by Mindbender, the fresh maker. I'm past the superstars, the sparkling trail behind me. I'm a breathing comet. Instinctive love movement on past the rhythm theory. Check the beats and rhymes of my life. Inspired by Alicia E. Muhammad. From the soul. Balloon Mindbender statements stay dominant. Adam, you the plug, 9-dimensional, get connected into my electric relaxation. Dog, when I'm bugging out, I'm more amplified than Jonathan Davis. Excursions to a deeper consciousness will let me defy my death. When wandering places, all concentration is for creating this half song, half amazing vibe called
Being an
fresh.
MC who was birthed in an era when MCing actually had merit, and then you try to carry it into an era where MCing doesn't have merit, and it's a formula, a recipe for being completely misunderstood and underappreciated.
Yeah,
It's
a recipe for failure.
Of course.
Quote unquote
Well,
failure.
quote
Even though,
unquote,
even though the album is made, and
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it, and
Yeah.
Fantasyland Before Time is a wonderful album.
Yes.
But people didn't check it. So the next album I made was Beautiful Mutant, and the biggest single off it was a song I wrote called Back to the Future. And it was I'm great at writing verses, but choruses are something that I need to work on. And this is one of my favorite choruses that I ever wrote. And it goes, superhuman MCs come true in musical dreams. Take your mind to your memories with only a few words. Time travel forward and back to the future.
Nice.
So, it's
yeah.
So the whole superhuman MCs come true in musical dreams. So all of us rapping.
Yeah.
Take your mind to your memories with only a few words.
Right.
I was thinking you could jump all around. My first example was saying 1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly, yeah.
Snoop Dogg,
Exactly,
92. It's
exactly,
it's damn,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, you know, you jump all around, you know,
Sure.
like, and so it's like, take your mind to your memories with only a few words, time travel forward and back to the future.
Nice.
It's just
That's like exact exact of what we were just chatting about time traveling with language. Yeah.
Exactly that.
Totally. Yeah, awesome. That's wicked, man.
But yeah, I mean, that's one of my bets. But yeah, I actually, my mind went somewhere else, and I didn't plan on this, but I want to leave this here, and this, you can just leave this. This is up to you to use if you're not. This is definitely a super exclusive. Who knows how many people will hear this?
Awesome.
I'm just putting it out there because I'm speaking from my heart.
All right, man.
It's not even hate, but there's certain criticisms that I think are fair to be said about chaos.
Okay.
So I don't give a cunt. There is a chaos diss in it. See, I don't put it out there much, but it's like it's a little poke and jab to chaos.
All right.
You know, I could compliment that brother, but I could also criticize him, and I do that from time to time for my own personal reasons. But my exclusive for this podcast is that, like, I had a dream like 3 days ago of me dissing chaos on stage.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. And like when I woke up, like I was disappointed that it wasn't.
I finally said what I needed to say,
I did,
but I didn't really say it.
It was not in this dimension. Fuck! It was in an alternate reality. But like,
and Kevin's just waking up one morning going, "I feel really offended, and I don't know why."
In my head, it was a masterpiece. Like it was fucking 8 Mile finale worthy. Like it was in front of this crowd. He was standing there, and like it was just like I snapped, and I was just like, yo, I'm just frustrated with you as a person. And like what happened is like I ended up freestyling like 12 bars that were just like punches that were just like, yo, and it was just all my thoughts of over the years of just like, yo, you could have done so much more for Canadian hip hop. Yo, I know so many MCs you screwed over. Wow. Yo, and like it was just like they were coming out in bars, and like it was just this little off the head rap that I was spitting at him, and it was like I imagined this place where I grabbed the mic and I was just like, and I'm spitting them at him. And he was just standing there and just like, the crowd was screaming because there were true things that I was saying. And then he was just like receiving it. And I was like, yo, this is, I'm like, I'm seeing it. I'm like, really? I'm like, yo, I'm fucking dissing chaos. Finally, fucking people are hearing this shit. I'm like, fuck, this brother frustrates me, man. Like, fuck, we should have built so much more in this country. Yeah. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, fuck. I was so mad. So mad, but yo, that's
crazy dreams, man. I know.
Yo, and then we'll go back. Everybody can be complimented. Everybody can be criticized. Yeah, Chaos has a wonderful voice.
You know, we're speaking our minds, we're speaking our hearts, you know, and I think like, and that is something that we want to, you know, I want to see more of. That's a big motivation behind even just doing this, is just sitting and talking with people and capturing a conversation that maybe will incite other conversations, to help other conversations to happen, you know, and maybe people are going to debate the Mindbender chaos thing now, and maybe people are going to debate.
Yeah, they should. They should. I mean? Yo,
but real. I mean, but if, you know, because like here, I'll throw in the other, you know, chaos did maybe bring us together as a country of hip hoppers for a brief moment.
Yep,
you know, there was a moment where you felt
Joyful
like
Rebellion is amazing.
Sure, there you go, right? And so yeah, but I just really feel like, again, and that also harkens back to we should all be able to speak our minds and hearts without worrying about some crazy inflammatory reaction where we can just be who we are and say what we want to say. So that's it. I want the brother to get help. I want everybody to get help.
Of course. People, everyone's hurt or broken or struggling or frustrated or going through some ups or downs or whatever, and it's like,
for sure.
Yo, we should all be honest with each other, because like I'm so glad you bring it up, because that's actually the last point I'll lead on. Like I'm so glad that you said it that way, because it's very important. Like somebody can criticize my music or my art or my porn or my writing or whatever, and like I will engage them to a degree. Like you're a human being. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm Mindbender, fuck what you have to say. I don't care what that person on the internet had to say. I'll be like, no. let me learn something.
Sure.
Like if you're an actual fucking real person in hip hop and you actually listen to the song, you'd be like, you know what? That fact wasn't true, or that mix down was bad, like, or like, you know what, like, you're, or if they say to me, hey, the song was called, the vibe called Fresh, but you know what, the way that you wrote it, I actually don't think that you came across too clear with presenting your parallels to native tongue. And if they say that about my song, I'll be like, fair enough.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I would like to read that comment. Not, yo, that shit's fucking whack. You can't rap. You should quit rapping, Mindbender.
I know.
I'd be like, yo, fuck you. Like, yo, the song, it goes, the song is ill, man. Like,
yeah, for sure. And it's just one of these things. And but you know, I think, you know, coming together, like, with, you got to follow the love, right? You can't follow the hate. Like, you got to go to the people that are supporting. You got to, you know, you got to listen to the people who are saying the positive shit. And, you know, you don't need a bunch of yes men around you, but you also certainly don't need to go to war with everybody who's like, telling you, you know, and everybody, as soon as you try to do anything of relevance or importance to you or anyone else, everybody's going to want to say something like this. Just, your mom's going to be like, you should do this. And your sister's going to be like, you should do this. And your brother's going to be like, oh, you should have done that. And then someone's going to be all like, if you really want to make money, you're going to do it this way. And like, you know, there's always that guy, right? Who's just like, you show them a painting. They're like, if you painted it with a little more red, that would sell. That would sell. And then, you know, so everybody's got, but I think it's like important to let people know that you're you're up for the dialogue, and you're up for the dialogue, and that's apparent in you. And I think and that's definitely something when I'm thinking about who I want to talk to on these podcasts. I'm like, who would be up for this kind of dialogue? Because it's a probing dialogue where we're talking about what's going on in there. And I think that's for me, like, especially for artists such as yourself, like, if you were to try to just listen to your raps and be like, even though, like, and I'm going to challenge you listeners, you listen to Mindbender, and the themes he's talking about in this podcast are rampant in most of his writings. Okay, This is not like, oh, this is a whole different side of Mindbender. No, if you listen to Mindbender's lyrics, you can read them half the time online. You'll see these are all the same themes. Even though it's coming out like a fire-breathing dragon, F-bombs, you know, whatever else. Don't let that shy you away, and that is something that happens a lot with listeners. They're used to hearing a certain, you know, whatever it is, bravado or whatever they want to hear, you know, and you shut off, like, you don't listen to the lyricism involved, and I think the thing is that the image or whatever it is, or whatever hits you first, right? But what I'm trying to say is, like, I really hope that these podcasts shine a light into the artist as a person, as an individual, and helps put some relevance and validity to, like, the mind behind the rhyme or behind the music, so that when you go and experience this artist, which I hope you will, follow these links at the bottom of the YouTube page here, listen to Mindbender, and keep in mind this genuine, sweet, incredibly insightful human being who has been writing rhymes as a wordsmith for years and years and years, and has been just, you know, like, completely giving it to the world, just giving it. You know, like, we're not making tons of money. He's not making tons of money off this. Lots of exposures, lots of hits. A lot of people know the man's name. A lot of people have heard him on stage and off. But I'm talking about the artist as the insightful, truth-seeking individual that we endeavor to be. And if you can take that from this interview and then apply it to your listening ears as you start to digest the content, and we're talking 60 plus songs out there available for you to hear online right now.
There's lots of stuff.
There's maybe more, you know?
Yeah, there's stuff all over the place. Yes. You know? So, I need to organize that better. I definitely need to do that. And it's only a fraction of my music that I've released.
There you go.
I'm 40 now, and I read a saying, there's so many jewels I want to share with you, but I read a saying, you can be young and have no money, but you can't be old and have no money. And it's a tragedy to have some brilliant, wise, valuable people in society not be able to just be comfortable and just be like, you know what? Why can't I just, we're talking about going to Paris. Like, I know a Paris plane ticket is like around $500-$600 now. It's not even $1,200, but like, I can't afford either one of those prices. It's like, why is Mindbender not rich enough to just be like, oh, I got $2,000, let's go to Paris for the weekend? Like, you know, that's not a lot of money,
because you're part of the other 90. You're part of the 98% of the world.
Exactly,
you know, right?
Exactly. I'm part of the working. Exactly. So like, but like, that's the thing, and Oh, there's the last thought I wanted to give you.
Yeah.
I know it has to end at some point in time, but yeah, like you keep.
I'll just put it into 2 shows. It's going to be the Mindbender interview part 1 and part 2.
Okay, great. Yeah. Double barrel it for sure.
You don't want to scare anybody away with the 2-hour podcast. I'll be like, no, I'm not getting into that. I'll just be there all day.
For real.
Maybe you want to. I don't know.
Word.
2-parter, 3-parter. Why not?
Yeah, chop it up however you want. Give them teasers to lead up. But yeah, I definitely want to inspire people to realize that, like, I feel like, and I know that I'm living in my own heaven. I created it.
Absolutely.
It's made out of my artistry. It's made out of the relationships that I have. It's made out of loving people and connecting to people, and it's made out of the truth that I bring to hip hop. Because I'm really not, like you said, I'm really glad you said that. Like, I don't fabricate my identity. I'm like, it's like, there are times in hip hop where I push out my rhymes or the things that I've created. Yeah. But like, it's always me. I don't have to put on my hip hop energy. Like, I don't put on Mindbender. Like, it's the same guy.
That's right.
So if you ever see me in real life, like, you can approach me and talk to me. I want to share ideas and build, and like, I'm so thankful to have you, like, for that you'd have me here, man.
Absolutely,
like,
man.
It's really great. And I actually, the thing, I'm just gonna say it, if I don't know how long or short, but I really what you said to me is something that I want to ask you, and I really, like, I don't know how long or short you want to talk about it, but it's really, I would love if you could tell me what you think truth is.
What truth is. That's wow, that's an awesome question, man.
Yeah, 'cause it's so weird, but I would love to know what you particular, or like what comes to mind, but what, like, the idea of what truth is.
I really feel that, I guess for me, I feel that truth is what you decide the results were in the past. I don't think truth is necessarily something that's before you or something that can even be agreed on in the moment. The truth will only be known when you're looking back, because that's the only time where you can say, yes, that happened. No, that happened. Yes, that was a good thing. No, that was a bad thing. Is it the truth that I should cross the street now? It's the right time to cross the street. I don't know. I'm going to go out there. Boom, I get hit by a car. Retrospect, that was the wrong thing. That's the truth. There was no truth before that because nothing had happened. So I feel that, as you know, when you're looking to write the truth, you're usually writing about experiences you've had and using that to be the thing that you say, I know this is the truth because ipso facto this happens, and whenever this happens. But that in itself is only really a hypothesis, because everybody's truth is different. As they say, everyone has their own truth. It's because everyone has their own experience and their own thing to look back on that lets them know that was true, that was not true.
Yes.
You know?
Oh,
I think that's what my definition of truth is. It's the decision you make about what happened in the past, whether it was A or B. Was it good or bad? Was it right or wrong? Was it supposed to or not supposed to happen? And even that could be left up to, well, nothing's coincidence. Everything's supposed to happen. So all is truth. you know?
Yeah, for real.
So maybe truth is really whatever you do and whatever you say. And if you can get in line with that, which is a pretty esoteric way to think about the world, but if you can get in line with that, because here's a thought, like, everything is working towards a creative output and a creative energy. So even our bodies, when the cells are fighting against one another, they're actually part of a larger system that is all going towards the health of the body, right? So at another level, everything it does, everything that we do, every decision we make is no different than the way a eagle flies, a cat meows, or anything does what it does. It just does what it does, the way it does it, for its own set of rules and its own set of ideas.
Programming.
And we just do our own thing. And so even if you're like, oh man, like that's such a bad way to be, or I'm a bad person, or like I should never have done that, at a higher level, it's still all kind of working towards the greater, and I won't say good, I'll say the greater creation, the ever expanding creation that's moving outwards.
The greater balance, maybe?
The greater balance, yeah. But I mean, balance is also a delusion, you know, because like what seems unbalanced one part of the world is actually equaling a balance somewhere else. And then, you know, then put planet Earth in the scheme of the universe, and where does the balance of our ecosystem fall in there? Maybe not much, you know. It's hard to say. So But
Yes,
but you
thank
know,
you
that's
for
it. That's it.
Yeah, that's
a
for
whole
part
other
3.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be that.
yeah. We can just leave
Yeah,
it there
that's
because I thank you so much for this. And,
Yeah, man. Well,
oh, it's been
yes.
magnificent, and I thank
Awesome.
you for the reason that I really have to graciously thank you is because you've taught me a lesson that no one has ever taught me.
Wow,
That's
awesome, man. What a thing to say.
please, I am putting this on fucking audio recorded tape.
Nice.
Lefspek bent Mindbender's mind.
That's it. That's a wrap, man.
Yeah,
right there.
that's it, man. Like you bent my mind in ways that no one else
Wicked.
in the
Wow.
universe ever has. So thank you for that.
Thank you, man.
I love you,
Thank
bro.
Yeah.
It's so great to
love
be
you
here.
Too. Hand slap for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna end it there. I just want
Boom.
to thank everyone who's made it through both 3, 4, or 5 podcasts. I don't know how long this is.
Yeah, for real,
now.
whatever it is. Yeah, for real.
But
I hope you got something from it.
Yeah, I hope you did. Yeah, we definitely hope you got something from it, and I hope you feel inspired as an artist, as a person. I just want to thank Mindbender for coming down here and taking this roller coaster ride of a conversation with me.
No problem.
And
And the Mindbender is a roller coaster. Did you know that?
Oh yes, I did. It keeps coming up on the search tabs. Yeah, that's probably the first thing you'll find when you put Mindbender. If you don't put Mindbender Supreme, you're gonna get Mindbender the roller coaster.
Exactly.
That crashed in '86.
Yeah, exactly. and cut 3 people's heads off.
Yeah,
but yeah, actually. Yo, I had a revelation that I'm so sorry. Fuck it. This is a thought that this is the first time I've ever speaking it. A couple days ago, I was just thinking like, yo, I'm 40 years old and like I've shaken hands with Kanye West and I was with T.I. and Classified on Much Music getting a VMA and I've done stuff with Ghostface and I've done a million things, but I still have never been to Paris. I still have never had a blowjob in a club or kissed a girl in a club on a certain, like there's certain very, very fundamental basics I've never done.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? My life is so weird. and then it actually dawned on me for the first time ever, like 2 days ago. I'm like, a Mindbender or a roller coaster goes all over the place and doesn't go straight forward. And I'm like, my life is being my own name and I'm not even aware of it. And then
the whole science behind that too, that your name dictates your life, really.
Totally. And I didn't actually, like, I always thought about my lyrics for a Mindbender. And I'm like, I always tell that for years. And then the other thought that I'll give you for sure that I love to say is, love is the ultimate Mindbender.
Right.
So people are like, oh, tell me a mind-bending thought, blow my mind. And I'm like, love yourself.
Yeah,
look in your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll really fuck your mind up. And then they're like, my brain is breaking. I'm sorry, I gotta go now. But yes, I love you. Mindbender loves you. It's been great.
Awesome. Thank you, Addy. Thanks, Mindbender, and thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time on Lefspek Connects.
There's 100 dope rappers that come and go and then stay gone. Do they need another brother on the grass? I'll start acting, get shot in the back and be a wheelchair date into a teenage prom. Get my Drake on. I'm just playing that only makes great songs. But then you take off like Socrates and JD era if you're not with Jay-Z or Lil Wayne wants. Most F you can, but it helps to pray to 8 gods. Go through a